Looking live at the headquarters of the United Nations in New York City. Members of the UN Security Council will meet today to discuss the next steps in the maintenance of peace and security of Ukraine.
And this comes after major developments from the war in Ukraine in just the past 48 hours. Russian forces are continuing to hit Ukraine territories this morning, just hours after a high-profile prisoner swap between Ukraine and Russian officials.
More than 200 Ukrainian and foreign prisoners were freed from Russian custody. This all comes as Vladimir Putin is calling up 300,000 reservists to replace Russian troops lost during the war, which is also leading to protests from the people of Russia.
So much going on with the war in Ukraine. Joining us to break it all down this morning, Milada Vachudova, Eastern European scholar and professor at UNC Chapel Hill. Milada, always a pleasure to have you on. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Wow, where do we start to even break this apart? So much happening in the last 48 hours. Are some of these moves by Putin, you think, because of some failure on their part to overtake Ukraine? Is this a desperation move? How do you see this?
I definitely see this as a move of weakness, having to mobilize these troops at a time. You know, mobilization in Russia is going to be deeply unpopular. And so this is a move of weakness in reaction to the gains in territory by the Ukrainian military and basically Russian units falling apart, running away along some of that front line.
What's the response from people in Russia? There are reports that people are trying to book up what flights they can even find, potentially maybe getting out of Russia into Serbia. We know there are protests, more than 800 people arrested. Will we start to see more of this as this just continues?
You know, I do hope the people of Russia protest more and more because taking down the Putin regime is really the best way out of this for the Russian people and certainly for Ukraine, for the world. I think, you know, this brings home the war to Russian citizens like it hasn't so far. And, you know, if you're listening to Ukrainian voices today, they're certainly pointing out that Russians are protesting against mobilization, but there really haven't been any protest against the horrendous war crimes and destruction wrought by the Russian military in Ukraine.
Do you think this is going to change the power, maybe who controls the war, the battle here? I mean, you've got these soldiers that are being called up in Russia that, for many of them, probably don't want to go. They're not going to have to sacrifice their life to go into a battle they may not want to fight. And then you got Ukraine, who they've got the will to fight in them. So I would think the advantage is still with Ukraine.
You're absolutely right. These men being called up in Russia don't want to fight. Many of them don't have training. It is actually going to take months for men called up today to actually be in a functioning unit that can make a difference on the battlefield. So that's one thing. There's a time delay. But once you get to that battlefield, these Russians men do not want to fight. They don't know how to fight. They don't know what they're fighting for. And casualties have been extremely high. You know, you never know, but, you know, it's very credible that on some days 100, 200, 300 Russian men are being killed on the front. So, you know, on the other side, the Ukrainians know exactly what they're dying for. Putin gave this speech a couple of days ago. He made it clear that the goal of this war for the Kremlin is to extinguish the Ukrainian nation, remove Ukraine from Europe. So, you know, they're fighting for their lives, but also just for the survival of the Ukrainian nation.
Milada, what do you make of the Mariupol prisoner swap and the exchange? It seems there had to be a bit of amicable negotiations to even make that happen, because we haven't seen anything like that over the last 7 months.
So the timing is fascinating, right? At this moment where we see Putin's weakness, another sort of what I would call a huge win for Ukraine. The morale in Ukraine right now is sky high, because it's not just any prisoners from Azovstal that have been swapped, but the actual leaders who became very famous and very much admired in Ukraine around the world. I think this was to do with the brokering by Turkey's President Erdogan. There are some things going on behind the scenes. We may never know exactly what compelled the Kremlin to make this deal, but we do know that he got one of his close friends back, the godfather of one of his daughters.
Milada, we've heard Putin talk about using any force necessary. Of course, we, think that could mean nuclear war. We're not, it hasn't been super specific. Are we dealing with the most dangerous Putin that we have seen yet?
I don't live in Putin's head.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I believe that, yes, as he confronts his weakness, as he realizes that this war is incredibly difficult for Russia and perhaps impossible to achieve his aims, he is dangerous. But on the other hand, I do not think the response by the West should be to go soft. I think what we need to do is provide more help to Ukraine, more weapons, more sanctions against Russia. This is a moment where, we could really make a difference, as we have been for Ukraine. But our response should be, Ukraine is doing well now. Let's help them even more. Let's try to end this war. This war is having terrible consequences, right? For Europe, for hunger around the world. It's really anything we can do to end this war.
And we heard about some of those consequences during speeches at the UN yesterday. Of course, the Security Council meeting later today, and one world leader said the war itself is like an attack on what this very institution of the UN stands for. What do you think will come from the Security Council's meeting, and will there be further action taken in a united way?
It's always going to be very hard, if not impossible, to get decisive action from the UN Security Council, with Russia on the Security Council, with China on the Security Council. However, we do see the countries that were on the fence, that were quiet, even countries that were supporting Russia, the mood is changing. And so I do see this kind of turning away from support for Russia, and we see that especially China expressing its misgivings about what Putin is doing on the battlefield. So I think there's that quiet diplomacy matters. It matters a lot, but I don't think we'll be able to see anything decisive happening within the UN Security Council itself.
It is hard to believe, Milada, that we're going to be talking 8 months into this battle here before you know it. We thank you for your time. I know it's crazy, isn't it? And I wish we were saying, hey, ceasefire, it's all over. We're unfortunately not there. But thank you for your time, as always, helping us understand.
It's been great to be here, and, so impressed with the Ukrainian military and the Ukrainian people who, they're not tired. They're continuing to fight and fight hard.